What's going on, everyone? I'm Joseph Lombard, aka N2SC4R, and here's a new thing that I am going to do on my YouTube channel, and I've been requested by this before, and I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I should give this a try and see what happens. And if you really enjoy it, I'll do this every week or after every NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to talk about and review a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race that we just recently had. So anyway, so today, let's just get on to the conversation here. So today was the 58th running, the 2016 Daytona 500. And a lot of things went on in the Daytona 500. I mean, not like a lot, but a lot of things, especially at the finish, which we'll get to in just a minute. But let's talk about when the race started. So Chase Elliott, who became the youngest NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver to win the Daytona 500 pole award last Sunday, and so it was him that started on the pole. And you know, I had predictions on who was going to win this Daytona 500. I mean, obviously, I didn't think it was going to be Chase Elliott. I just hope he had top 10, top 15 finish. We'll get to him in just a minute. But my predictions were Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I knew the Joe Gibbs drivers was going to be something today. So I had Dale Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth, and Kyle Busch winning this year's Daytona 500. Well, I got most of my prediction right except for one driver, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So, the green flag drops. And, it went for the first 20 laps, green flag, or first 19 laps of green flag. All of a sudden, lap 19, Chase Elliott, I guess he got loose from off the air of another car, and then he got sideways, came down right in front of Edwards. He goes spinning into the front straightaway, and then as soon as he got into the infield grass, the splitter hit, and it dug into the grass, and that was the end of his chance of winning the Daytona 500 there. From going from the pole to going into the garage with a heavily damaged front end of the car because after the splitter hit the grass. He ended up finishing 37th. He came back to finish the race to get some more points. And I was rooting for Chase Elliott at the time. Well, what I did after Chase Elliott wrecked, wardrobe change. I bet you see the Instagram photo on my Instagram. And I switched over to Dale Jr. And also I had the Chase Elliott shirt at the time. I also switched over to Dale Jr. as well. So Chase Elliott was out of the running of the Daytona 500 basically. Well, not out of the running, but he was 40 laps down at the end of it. So let's go on to more of the race here. So anyway, we knew Joe Gibbs was going to be dominant. And, you know, they even said it like this past week that Joe Gibbs is going to be tough to beat. And it definitely showed today. I mean, you had Denny Hamlin, who led the most laps in the race. Matt Kenseth, going from a backup car after the crash in the dual races on Thursday. Same thing with Martin Truex Jr. You know, he's Joe Gibbs affiliated. Toyota now too. He had a good run going, and Kyle Busch, he was up there. So Joe Gibbs was definitely the strongest team in today's Daytona 500. So, and also Dale Earnhardt Jr. was up there early as well. All of a sudden, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got shuffled back in the middle of the pack. And then with around, like 60 laps to go around there, or less than that, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Got sideways off turn number 4. Same thing as what happened to Chase Elliott early on in the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got sideways off turn number 4. He spins, but he spins far just enough where he hit the inside wall head on. It wasn't like, I mean, it was a little bit of a hard hit, but not as hard. It was kind of like that, like, it wasn't like, let's say, not a hard impact. It was a little bit rough impact in the inside wall. Down the front straightaway. So, you know, it sucks for Junior too. And, you know, and after Junior wreck, I'm like, well, I got no one to cheer on for. Except, you know, I'm like, whatever, we'll just see who wins this Daytona 500 plays out. I'm not going to jinx anyone. Because it seemed like today, every time I did a wardrobe change, after I picked Junior now, he wrecks. So I was like, well, I just jinxed 2 drivers out of the Daytona 500. So, it was unfortunate Dale Earnhardt Jr. wrecked. He looked like he had a strong car. Maybe would have done something at the end of today's Daytona 500. Who knows? Johnson, he was pretty good as well, but he got that penalty for going over the wall, for his pit crew to go over the wall too soon. And then it just seemed like Johnson never recovered back after that. Like, he stayed in the back, you know. He just couldn't recover after that. So what else? I mean, you had Danica spinning. You had 2 hard crashes with Matt DiBenedetto and Chris Buescher. That was a hard crash. Glad both of them were all right. And then, like I said, Danica Patrick spinning down the back straightaway. She went up in the air about 3 times, but like I said, the grass, once it digs into the splitter digs into the grass, it just destroys the car. It just, I just don't like how the splitter just destroys the race cars as soon as it hits the grass, like the grass destroys the cars. But I guess it is what it is, you know what I mean? So, what do we got here? So, like I said, you got Joe Gibbs, dominant. Hamlin, definitely dominant. He led the most laps of this race. He about led half the race, I will say. But, like I said, Hamlin was just the strongest out there. He got shuffled back just a little bit after one of the pit stops and stuff. But he definitely recovered. So, let's go to the last few laps. So, you had Matt Kenseth leading. Martin Truex Jr. second, Kyle Busch third. Denny Hamlin 4th and Carl Edwards 5th. All Joe Gibbs drivers up there in the top 5, but running on the bottom lane, I should say. Truex Jr., he's not with Joe Gibbs, but he's Joe Gibbs affiliated. Let's just say that. He's working with Joe Gibbs. So, he's having a great run. I mean, a lot of drivers that start from the back. I mean, a few drivers that started on the back. I mean, look at Carl Edwards after that earlier incident that involved Vickers spinning off turn number 4. Turn number 4 has been the real issue with wrecks today in today's Daytona 500. Edwards got in the wall. We thought Edwards, there's no way he was gonna. There was no way they were gonna repair the car because we thought when he hit the right front in the outside wall, the toe was gonna be out. It wasn't gonna handle well and stuff. But they fixed that car, and Edwards got back into the top 5, top 10. Did a pretty good job on that. So last few laps, like I said, you got the Joe Gibbs drivers up front. Including Martin Truex Jr. So, just amazing. They were just staying in line. And then, coming down to the white flag, you had Matt Kenseth leading. And then, Hamlin was running 4th. So, Hamlin pulls up to the outside lane, coming off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. And he had Kevin Harvick behind him. Kevin Harvick gave Denny Hamlin such a great bump. And I have no idea how Denny Hamlin just got such a run on the outside lane. It was incredible. So going into turn number 3, you see Hamlin just getting this run on the outside lane. Kenseth was on the bottom. Kenseth knew that if he blocked Denny Hamlin, that was going to break up Denny Hamlin's momentum. So what did Matt Kenseth do? Matt Kenseth went from the bottom lane. Here's Kenseth, here's Hamlin. Kenseth went from the bottom lane in turn number 3 and turn number 4. He went up the racetrack, but Hamlin just had such a big run. Hamlin all of a sudden came down like this and made the move underneath Kenseth. All of a sudden, you see Kenseth going sideways, and I thought Kenseth was going to wreck. I mean, Kenseth was like sideways like this, but Kenseth managed to save it. I forgot where he finished. I could check the results after this video. But then, while Kenseth was moving up the racetrack, and, Hamlin and Kenseth was battling for the lead, here comes Martin Truex Jr., just stayed on the bottom lane. He has a run as well, and we thought, oh my gosh, Truex is going to win this Daytona 500. So coming off turn number 4, you got Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. Battling it out to the checker flag to win the Daytona 500. Matt Kenseth is back there sideways. He manages to save it. So coming down to the line, it looked like Martin Truex Jr. Had a run on the inside lane, and it looked like he was going to beat Denny Hamlin to win this Daytona 500. I mean, how big would it be if Martin Truex Jr. held off Denny Hamlin to win the 500? How good of a story would it have been if Truex won the 500? Would have been a great story. I mean, they had a good story with Martin Truex Jr. and his girlfriend Sherry in the pre-race show. I mean, what a great story that was. So how big would that be if Truex won the Daytona 500? Well, it looked like for a moment there, Truex had enough of a run getting by Denny Hamlin on the inside lane, and Truex was going to win the 500. But at the last, I would say, last 300 feet, let's say, Hamlin gets enough of a run. He gets this small run, and then he gets by Truex Jr. with about, 50 feet away from the finish line, and Denny Hamlin, just about, let's say, about like this, well, definitely more than that. It was basically more like this from a car's point of view, but I'm talking about if this was the 2 front bumpers. Hamlin just got by Martin Truex Jr. with just enough of a run, and Denny Hamlin edged out Martin Truex Jr. to win the 58th running and the 2016 Daytona 500. And man, I wanted Truex to win that race so bad. I thought Truex had it. Even at the line, as soon as those two crossed the line, I thought Truex had it. Because it happened so fast, I thought Truex had the win. But then I looked at the scoring ticker and it said Hamlin. And I'm like, let me see the photo finish. And they showed it. Last second, Denny Hamlin just got by Truex to win the Daytona 500. And I'm just like, oh! I wanted Martin Truex Jr. to win that Daytona 500 so bad after it looked like he made that move in turn number 4 when Hamlin and Kenseth were battling it out. But damn! Oh, so close for Truex. If Truex would have won the Daytona 500, how big would that be? That would just be so big. But I would say, you got to give credit to Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. is going to be a driver to watch out for in 2016. We saw what happened with Truex in 2015. He had a great start to the 2015 season. And then he made the final round of the chase last year. Had a chance to win a championship last season. Better watch out for that 78. Got to watch out for Martin Truex Jr. this year. I think he has something up his sleeves for the 2016 season. And probably going to be better than what he showed in 2015. And who knows, Truex could be battling for this championship later this year. I have this feeling Truex will have a good season. I mean, we just saw today how great of a race he had. But Denny Hamlin, you got to watch out for him too. You know, you got to watch. I think it's going to be a Joe Gibbs racing year, I will say. Joe Gibbs is going to have a strong season. Hamlin's going to have a strong... Just basically Joe Gibbs Racing. The whole Joe Gibbs organization is just going to have a strong 2016 season, in my opinion. So, anyway, so Denny Hamlin, 2016 Daytona 500 champion, 58th annual Daytona 500 champion. Congrats to Denny Hamlin. Well deserved, I will say. I gotta give Denny Hamlin credit. He led about half the race, and he just had the strongest car. Hamlin had the strongest car to win the Daytona 500, and what did he show in that final lap? Getting that oh so good of a run on the outside lane, and then making that move on Matt Kenseth, and then just barely edging out Martin Truex Jr. to win the Daytona 500. That just showed how strong Denny Hamlin was today. So, even though I'm not a Hamlin fan, I gotta give a lot of credit to him, and well-deserved victory for Denny Hamlin. Congrats to him on being the Daytona 500 champion. And, yeah, I mean, on a scale from 1 to 5, I would say the race was a 4. I would say in the middle part of the race it was a little boring. I mean, the beginning was good, and then the middle part was like, but then the last 50 laps it really got interesting and stuff like that. And to see who has the strongest car to win the 500. Like I said, no, it didn't look like anyone had a shot at Joe Gibbs Racing today. Even the Hendrick drivers. I thought Hendrick was also going to be up there as well, but, you know, they just didn't show it in the second half. So, like I said, it was a Joe Gibbs kind of Daytona 500 this year. So, but Denny Hamlin tops it off with a win, just edging out Martin Truex Jr. to win the Daytona 500 in an oh-so-close photo finish to win the Daytona 500. So what a great way to kick off the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series season with a finish like that. And we'll just see what happens at the mile-and-a-half Atlanta Motor Speedway next Sunday. Heard it's supposed to be good weather at Atlanta Motor Speedway next Sunday. Hopefully a sunny day out there and not like rain like last year and just like a foggy, cloudy, misty kind of day like we saw in last year's Atlanta race. So now it's time to go to Atlanta. Mile-and-a-half track for the ring of the Quick Trip Folds of Honors 500. I believe that's what the event's called. We'll just see what happens at Atlanta. So Denny Hamlin, will he have that momentum after winning the Daytona 500 and show it at Atlanta Motor Speedway at the mile-and-a-half track? Will Joe Gibbs continue their momentum towards Atlanta? We're about to find out next Sunday at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race there. Second race of the season. So what a great way to start off the 2016 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series season with a photo finish, exciting finish in the Daytona 500. Like I said, one more time, congrats to Denny Hamlin on just an oh-so-close photo finish to win the Daytona 500. Well-deserved. He had the strongest car out there. He did a great job. So that's it. That's all I got to talk about. Next Sunday, after the Atlanta race, I'll come back here do another review of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And like I said, if this series goes well, maybe I'll continue it on throughout the whole 2016 NASCAR season and see if I'll continue it going into 2017. So that's it. That's all I got to talk about. Congrats to Denny Hamlin on winning the Daytona 500. I'm Joseph Lombard, aka N2SC4R, and I will see you later.